Nuns have a big presence in horror movies, making the whole trope unscary because they've become kinda predictable. And that was my opinion of them for a long time, up to the point where I found this game called Nun Massacre. The storyline is dismembered because there is no real story for you to grip onto for comfort. But I'm gonna piece everything together using the information scattered around this boarding school to not only beat the nun, but beat the mysteries surrounding this whole game. And at last, we arrive at the school. Turning around and trying to leave isn't an option. We storm up the stairs but can't go any further. What type of school has a barbed wire pit on the staircase? However, exploring the rooms we find a note written by one of the pupils. It seems to be from our child, Jane. It states how we dropped her off at this school and there are teachers who seem to be in her care, with the head teacher called Mother Apollonia, which we're just gonna call Mother Apollo. She seemed to be nervous, not knowing what to expect here, the only friend being her clown plushie from home, Bongo. One thing I'm confused about is why isn't anyone here? No teachers, no students. There seems to only be one thing. It brings static with it and whispers through the corridors. We place and shimmy over the wooden plank, smash a window to unlock a door and find a radar. That headache-inducing white noise. We find another letter, but we'll read this one later. As we crawl through more vents, we find ourselves in some type of nurse room. Wire cutters. I think I'm beginning to understand how the progression works in this game. Throughout exploring the map, there are many different rooms. Kitchens, common rooms, mannequin limbs, finding another letter along the way. Stuff interacts with each other, which is how we progress, but I'm strung on what any of it means for now. I may have cut some wires, but why did I do that? All I know is that they sent me a letter saying Jane was unwell and we needed to come. What the fuck just happened? For now, we're forced to keep on searching. There's obviously some type of nun that doesn't want me here, and I don't know why. All I know is that hiding under this bed will kill us sooner or later. While we explore, let's read one of the first letters we got. Dear Diary, I need to pee really bad in class, but Mother Apollo wouldn't listen. I couldn't hold it in, so I tried to pee a little at my desk, but she found out. Everybody laughed at me. I had to clean it up and walk around in my underwear the rest of the day. The other kids call me pee pants now. I'm never going to have friends. I'm trying to pray more if Jesus is watching me, but I feel so alone. I don't know what to write, so that's the end for now. So this Mother Apollo isn't the caring type you'd expect an old priestess to be, and at least in this moment, Jane seemed to be the subject of her power complex. Jane obviously wasn't having a great time, her only friend. her only friend is that clown, and was being actively humiliated by the other classmates. For now, I have my suspicions that Mother Apollo is the nun, but even solving this doesn't really answer much. I need to find more clues. The vent glows up, then steeply drops. There doesn't seem to be a way out, but we gotta see for ourselves. Fuck. Shimmying out doesn't work, I'm jumping, I can't do fucking hell. It's a direct standoff between me and the nun. What the fuck? I lost all my progress, but made it back here again, just before we went in that vent. We find a hammer this time, but most importantly, we now know that there are traps placed around the school. As the static plays, I lie under the bed, helpless. Because somewhere along that chase, I dropped my radar. All I can do is wait for the whispering to fade. What does she even whisper? It sounds like she's fucking crazy. She might be possessed. All I can do for now is try and muster some confidence to continue. I eventually do, and find a drain cleaner. If I'm being honest, I would prefer to keep the hammer. I'm stumped on where to use this drain cleaner, but my guess is it's for something in one of the bathrooms. So while I head to all of them, I take this opportunity to read another letter we found earlier. Dear Diary, Mother Apollo hates me. She pulled me out of class today, but I didn't do anything. I got the ruler 5 times. I hate it here. I can't make friends. Nobody else wants to talk to me. I really don't believe in God. If God was real, there wouldn't be so many bad people in the world. I miss Mummy and my old friends. I want to go home to a normal school. Jane really had it bad here. We find what the drain cleaner's purpose is. My heart sinks. By the commons, there was an outside area. The statue's head decapitated, gravestones paved in front of it. I think something possessed Mother Apollo and killed all the students. She's clearly not herself anymore. Something within her abusive self opened the gates to some corrupt spirit, and she followed by committing these deranged cultist activities, manifesting this type of demon in nun clothing she is now. I don't think she's fully brain dead, even though she's whispering everywhere. She's still able enough to trick me into coming here. But why? Why? Why am I here? Where are the other parents? Why didn't they get tricked into coming here too? And then I start to feel hopeful. I think Jane, our daughter, was the only one that escaped once Mother Apollo turned. It makes sense. I mean, being subjected to that much of a punching bag, I'd imagine would take a strong mental shift to get through it. She's already been a target of many punishments and beatings, and she probably saw this whole situation as no different despite now being at risk of death. On top of that, there's another note in this game which I didn't find, but states that Jane figured out how to pick locks, making her the only one confident and experienced enough to bypass all the locked doors. I was coaxed here to try and bring her back, but that's not gonna happen. I need to figure out how she got out, take the same route, and find her. I found a videotape, and I remember there being TVs in the common room. Let's take it and see what it... plays. This is Bongo. This is some form of torture made just for Jane, as if Mother Apollo was trying to take away her last friend. We unscrew this vent again, however this time round we've made a lot more progress. Aside from the trap, there's another room. Another TV. The vents are endless. With so many twists and turns I get lost quite a few times, but continue up this singular path. We find another videotape which I can use later, but for now keep going further in. There's no way I survived this. There is no way I survived this. I don't know what to make of the ringing, but the vent's diameter has been halved. I am kinda curious, but not this time. I don't wanna die again. We place the video recorder in the TV. It's the same clown. What even is this room? I doubt Jane was getting pulled through vents to watch a 5-second image of her clown looking angry. That would have been mentioned in one of her entries if this was true. Another similar landing. This time, however, with dimly lit red lights and mouldy concrete walls. We stumble across another videotape and a mannequin torso hung from a chain. I'd imagine this part of the school was being locked up for renovation. That was until I found a revolver. We can't take this now. I'm holding too much shit. Downstairs is locked. Upstairs has a padded room for the mentally sick, but otherwise it's also useless. This school, coming to think of it, is very reminiscent of a psych ward. The layout of the landings, the area of the school, an isolated building far away from society. Maybe this building was originally a mental institution, eventually being turned into a school. If I'm getting spiritual about things, maybe the angry patients who suffered were the ones who dehumanized Mother Apollo into the possessed freak she is now. Or it might have been the similarly abusive staff. I finally find all the mannequins to break the scale, and a gear pops out. I don't get it. If that's all we needed to do, why didn't we just jump on the damn thing till it broke? There's only 2 more areas I haven't utilized. Outside and the clock room. Bingo. As I carefully listen to the footsteps of the nun, I'm sure I've beaten the game. I hope something awaits for me outside, where I can finally piece everything together. There is nothing outside. I've been everywhere. The nun is a freak of a head teacher who listened to evil spirits and fucked the whole school up. Jane got out and I need to see her. That's the story to this game. I don't get it. I don't get it anymore. What am I missing? I was locked in punishment again. I screamed to let me go to the bathroom. I couldn't hold it in, so I pooed on the floor. Mother Apollo found out and I had to pick it up and rub it all over me. She showed the other kids and everybody laughed. I can't stop crying. I want to climb out of the window. It's too high. I can hear her coming. She's looking for me. She's saying, "Where are you, Jane?" Where are you? A new passageway has opened. It's reminiscent of the true colours of this school. A dungeon disguised as a playground. All the doors are locked, apart from the top floor. There's nothing in all the lockers, apart from one, with a padlock. There are numbers on the board which probably make the code. 9, 7. Fuck! The gun isn't loaded. We avoid this way for now, but we must be careful. Three. After trying different combinations of 5, 7, 9, and 3, we eventually get the right one. Giving us a candle, which we light by the cross in the altar. I believe this is some sort of religious ritual to undo the nuns' massacre. There was just one more classroom to search, but this fucking sister wouldn't move! I think we just have to tank a chase scene. So she was just glitched. We can unlock more doors, but we'll figure that out later. One more hit, then we die, meaning this all resets. We grab the rubbing alcohol from the final room, make our way to the cabinet and light the final candle to the only thing that can save us at this point. Who the fuck is this? I don't know. But there it is, the statue's head, as we tear it from the limbs of another victim. We head outside. Exhausted, paranoid, but still admiring the environment of the only nun media that actually shocks you to your core. I placed the head on the statue, almost expecting to hear that deafening screech one more time. However, another entry appears on the floor, not written by Jane this time. Mothers coddle and protect their children. I'm going to save this child. No matter what I have to be, this pain will save my daughter. A good mother knows that. I can give her this discipline, but not as her mother. Her mother will try to protect her from the pain she felt. If I can't save her as her mother, then her mother will have to leave. The sister will have to guide her. This home will be her school. This woman will be her teacher. She'll understand that because her mother loves her. It's because God loves her. We're interrupted by the sound of hammering. Peering over, It's our fucking grave. So we hop in, feeling the rain on our faces as a last drop of disassociation. There is no way to control this child. There's only so much I can be expected to do for her. Mother Apollo would know what to do. She knew that children need discipline and structure. You can't expect that to come on its own. God works through the actions of the faithful, after all. If I can't fix her sinful ways as a mother, then surely a sister can. Fear is so clear a path of righteousness as anything. The ending at face value is a confusing and unsatisfying one. I understand that in these types of games and movies, the main monster will always come back to show how powerless you really are. However, we're still strung on what actually happened, including the aftermath of it all. Where is everyone? If they're dead, where are the corpses? Why did this come about? How did Mother Apollo actually get possessed? Who is fueling it? Who wrote the letters at the end? Were the sisters bad? Was the clown bad? All these questions answer themselves when the main message of the game gets revealed, which is what I want to talk about now. I don't think any of this actually happened. Well, it did, but not in the way we just experienced it. Jane was abused and killed. The nun did manifest hatred through a religion, and a statue head being returned was all it took to end everything. Because this never took place in a school. This all took place in our own home. This whole game is a self-reflection of how the mother treated Jane. The mother gained ownership of Jane, a foster kid who didn't really believe in God growing up, as we can tell from the diaries, and she wasn't too happy about that, humiliating her, lying to her and punishing her until Jane would cave under her abusive brainwashing strategies. The siblings would laugh at and outcast her because that's the behaviour mum rewarded, while being under the effect of Cinderella syndrome. This is what manifested her into metaphorically being a monster in Jane's eyes. A true monster, one that shocks anything and everything into flight mode, one that makes her wish she was back at the place deemed too fucked for her to stay at. Her only friend from said original place was of course taken from her until she would learn the correct way of life. That's why he was angry. Jane was strong, really fucking strong. But the torment, humiliation and paranoia of her everyday life saw ending it as the best way out. The mother at this point hasn't clocked on that she was the reason Jane killed herself. This game was the first time she self-reflected through everything, experiencing the kind of parent she was through the eyes and helplessness of Jane, to understand and be a victim to her own sins. That's why no one else was at school. That's why there was no semblance of any death in the school. The game wasn't about unraveling all that shit. Ultimately, the clock was set, so the time was right for her to understand what she did, which is what the statue symbolizes. It didn't fix anything, it didn't make it all better. Her head's just now back in place. She's now self-aware of her role in Jane's death. But guilt, shame, they're difficult emotions. More often than not, they get pushed far down and deformed in a way where they don't have to be internally addressed. In one, or technically two last attempts, Mother tries to internally spin it in a way where she doesn't have to feel guilt. But her conscience wouldn't let her. She couldn't disassociate from this exhausting psych ward disguised as a school in her mind. She couldn't find a way to make it someone else's fault. She experienced everything and she couldn't give it a happy ending despite trying. And if she can't still love herself, then God can. She ended up killing herself too. I'm not gonna be the one to say if this is a justified ending for her or not. That's for you to decide. But what if there was an ending where she forgave herself? How would that look like? I know there is another ending to this game, and that's something we might have to explore in the future. But for now, fuck this game, I'm out! I theorized this myself at the end, but reading this Redditor's similar theory helped me flesh out my narrative a lot. So, I don't know. Do whatever is the equivalent to liking a video on YouTube to his Reddit. Bye!